Written by Dr.Yaşam Ayavefe.
Archeology of Istanbul and tourism. Paleolithic period, where the glacier melt, hunter and gatherer groups form. Mesolithic period, where we can see their tracks from the cave in Istanbul Peninsburgas, known as the Ancient Stone Age, where the glacial cycle took place in a long part, and the Gobeklitepe, where the people were built in, is used as the Neolithic temple. Where the glacier were used as the Neolithic period, it is the Kalkolitic period where the first mining and agricultural work is done, and the hieroglyphics, called captions, are being used. Then the Bronze period, where bronze is processed, summer is now being used, and even the first treaty, the Kades Treaty, is made. 1 BC, where geometric motifs and tribes are formed. Urartular, where nails and hieroglyphics are used in the history of the millennium. Frigs, colonies, and first to develop in areas such as, where sea curvature migrations occur. The Archaic period, where the Ephesus ancient city is formed, where the myths of Homeros were written. The Classic period, where architecture and sculpture developed, where vases and wall painters were formed, and the Great Iskender's Hellenistic period, where important temples, structures, and cities were built in Anatolia. Finally, to understand how much the Roman period, where Istanbul is the capital of the Roman Empire, where sculpture, architecture, and art have developed a unique technique and style, has created in all aspects of the world, the history of human communities that have lived in the past and are no longer present. It is based on the protection of artifacts from these dates, which are the science that tries to research and enlighten. As for the importance of these archaeological studies for Istanbul, the purpose of urban archaeology is to uncover materials related to the city's past and turn it into information, and the purpose of archaeological museums is to camouflage this information. Museums are no longer just historical warehouses for a certain audience. On the contrary, they are not only the ones who present their collections, but also the ones who interpret them. In this respect, it is important that they contribute to the urban culture in which they are located, and we can see that many of the works are displayed at the Istanbul Archaeology Museum. Other than that, the work on the Isle of Yarımburgaz was found in excavations in the construction of Yenikap Marmara and excavations during construction of housing in Fikirtepe. It is important for Istanbul's history of archaeology. In addition, myths about a number of places and works in Istanbul are also the elements that try to illuminate this history. Museums are no longer just historical warehouses for a certain audience. On the contrary, they are not only the ones who present their collections, but also the ones who interpret them. In this respect, it is important that they contribute to the urban culture in which they are located, and we can see that many of the works are displayed at the Istanbul Archaeology Museum. Other than that, the work on the Yarımburgaz Island was found in excavations in the construction of Yenikap Marmara and excavations during construction of housing in Fikirtepe. It is important for Istanbul's history of archaeology. In addition, myths about a number of places and works in Istanbul are also the elements that try to illuminate this history. Istanbul Museum of Archaeology. The Istanbul Archaeology Museum, one of the most important museums in the world, was founded in 1869 under the name Museum I Humayun. After 29 years of work by Osman Hamdi Bey, Museum I Humayun entered the world's numbered museums. The most important reason for using a plural expression as Istanbul Archaeology Museums is that there are three separate museums: the Museum of Old Eastern Artifacts, the Sinali Kosk Museum, and the Museum of Archaeology. The Museum of Old Eastern Studies was opened in 1883 to be used as a school and was transformed into a museum in 1917 to show the public the important old cultural documents of nearby Eastern countries. The museum exhibits many works of Mesopotamia, Arabia, Anatolia, and Egypt. The Chinese Mansion Museum is a museum built in 1472 with the Selçuklu effect within Sarajevo and Topkapi, the only example of Ottoman civil architecture. In 1880, it was converted into a museum for the exhibition of archaeological and Islamic works. However, in 1939, the building was transferred to the Topkapi Palace Museum and the works found in it were distributed to different museums. So the Chinese Mansion Museum has lost its function as a museum. In 1953, Istanbul's 500 The building, which was restored due to the year of the conquest, has been reopened to visitors as the Fatih Museum. Later on, the building, which continues to serve as a museum, was used to showcase Turkish Islamic and Ottoman Chinese works. As of 1981, the Chinese Museum of Mansion was connected to the Istanbul Archaeology Museums, and the Chinese and ceramics of the Selçuklu Ottoman era were started to be displayed in this museum. The structure, which had several restoration operations on different dates, was completed and opened to visitors in 2005. Let's see some of the works in these museums in order. 1. Love Poem Tablet, Istanbul Archaeology Museums. 2. Alexander Sarcophagus, Istanbul Archaeology Museums. 3. Kades Peace Treaty, Istanbul Archaeology Museums. 4. Sidamara Sarcophagus, Istanbul Archaeology Museums. 5. Bust of Alexander the Great, Istanbul Archaeology Museums. 6. Sappho Bust, Istanbul Archaeology Museums. 7. Marsyas Statue, Istanbul Archaeology Museums. 8. Hittite Sword, Istanbul Archaeology Museums. 9. The Spoonmaker's Apple, Topkapi Palace Museum. 10. Heads of Medusa, Basilica Sistine, the Basilica Sistine. 11. Topkapi Dagger, Topkapi Dagger. 12. Head of Siapiant Column. 13. Halik Chain, Hali Chain. 14. Abi Hoyot Fountain, Abi Hoyot Fountain. 15. Sundial, Sun Clock. 16. Lugal Dalu Smile, Laugh. 17. Laws of Hammurabi. The early excavations in Istanbul are mentioned when we look at the other examples. Let's see the sample images in order. 1. Overview of Barkoi. 2. One of the 7 excavations was found. 3. Forum Theodosius. 4. Lorsos Palace excavation, Hippodrome. 5. Theodosius Belt. 6. Residue found during road construction, Saracane. 7. Saracane. 8. Residue found during road construction, Saracane. 9. Barkoi Sarnake. 10. Sishane Sarnake. 11. Kalenderhane. Yarmburgaz Island and its excavations. One of the first human settlements of the Vald and Istanbul is the Yarmburgaz Island, 22 kilometers from Istanbul. The most important feature of caves near the Lake Kuküksekmes northwest is that it carries traces of the Paleolithic era, which dates back to history, from the emergence of the first human being to around 10,000 BC. The excavations that started in 2009 with the Toki project in the western part of the Lake Kuküksekmes revealed another historical side of the Lake Kuküksekmes. Bathonia, a lost port city with Hittite marks at the top of the Neolithic era, where agriculture began, was uncovered. The Vald's oldest 3. The remains of his flashlight have also been found here. In the research, 2 centimeters thick fertilizer layer was detected in the lower cave, and the second layer of Byzantine period pots and pots, 60 centimeters thick beneath it was found. At the bottom are chipping stone tools and waste from the medieval Paleolithic era. Further down, there is a layer of Kalkolitic aged 200 inches thick. The pot extracted is similar to Fikirtepe goods in terms of goods and diapers. However, it is reported that all characteristics of Fikirtepe property are not included in the Yarmburgaz Island cave examples. The similarity between these 2 locations has helped to date the 5 layers of the Yarmburgaz Island cave. The quotes and insert printed parts that are covered in the same layer are another interesting discovery community of the layer. Based on the likeness of Fikirtepe, it dates from 5500 to 5000 BC and is reported to be of the Neolithic culture of the region. Yarmburgaz is very important for the Fikirtepe culture to show the limits of its propagation field in Trakya along with Kaynarca area.
Written by Dr. Yaşam Ayavefe.